Hey everyone, this is Ben the Bar Guy back with another video to help you make better drinks. And today we're gonna go over a topic which you see all the time, and that's how long are you supposed to shake a drink? And that is not as easy an answer as you might think. And definitely do not go by some sort of 15 seconds, 20 seconds, 25 seconds. I will show you how that will lead you down the road to inconsistency with some pretty major issues. So don't shake for time. Let me tell you how you can shake to make the best drink possible and the most consistent drink possible. So if you like better drinks, Nux beer mug, daiquiri. All right, everybody, this is Ben the Bar Guy, and this video is about why you should not shake for a set of time when you're shaking cocktails. And there's a few good reasons. There's 4 I will bring up today that you should think about. And instead of shaking for a specific amount of time, like 15 seconds or 20 seconds, I will give you an alternative, and hopefully you can practice that and be more consistent with your cocktails. The first reason that we don't shake for an amount of time is that your drinks are not made with alcohol that is at the same proof in every one of your drinks. So for instance, we have Beefeater London Dry Gin at an 88 proof, and we have Evan Williams Bourbon at 86 proof. Now these are 2 points apart, but without a doubt, you'll be able to shake a lot longer with those because the alcoholic solution of the cocktail is higher, meaning the ice will melt slower. So you can shake much longer with these two than say your classically 80 proof spirits like rum. Either aged rum or white is almost always 80 proof. Vodka is at 80 proof almost always. Tequila and mezcal are another great examples of 80 proof spirit almost always. So when you're making cocktails, you must always consider the proof of your spirits that you're using in the cocktail and then shake longer for higher proof spirits. A couple wary ones is that you may get like Navy rum, which is always at like 112, 114 proof. You may also find classic 94.6 Tanqueray or other London Dry Gin styles. And 94.6 is a pretty high proof, so you're gonna need to shake. Anything bottled in bond, like Rittenhouse Rye, you're definitely gonna wanna keep an eye out and shake much, much longer than you think. And here's another thing, it's not linear. So if you think because there's an extra point of alcohol, you need to shake exactly 5 more seconds, that's not how it works. For each point of alcohol, it's more like exponential time shake added to your drink. So it'd be more like, for 1 point, it's 10 seconds longer, but if you're 2 points, it's 25 seconds longer. And if it's 3 points, it's a minute longer, right? And you can see it just goes up and up and up. Be very, very careful with the proof you're using for how long you shake. Between 86 and 90 is really that Goldilocks zone for us, where we're not adding too much water too quickly, no matter what ice we're shaking with, but we're not sitting there shaking forever because the proof is so high that we're shaking a long, long time in order to get enough water into your drinks. Hey, a little hint, a little pro tip. If you're at a bar, you're at home, and you have really bad ice, like deli ice, we call it dimpled ice, something like that, that's fine. Use higher proof spirits and your cocktails will become much better right away. So use bottled in bond, use high proof rum, and you will find that your cocktails are much better. Use 94.6 Tanqueray at the classic London Dry ABV, and you will find that your drinks improve instantaneously. Try and stay away from white rum drinks and try and stay away from mezcal and tequila at lower proofs if you can, in that same instance, if you have bad ice. All right, the number 2 reason is your ice. So you can't shake for an exact amount of 15 or 20 seconds of time when you have 2 totally different cubes. Because a lot of people at home might be shaking with awful ice. They might have dimpled ice, something we call deli ice, or they may have half moon ice coming out of their freezer at home, or they may have professional bar ice, like the stuff that I'm shaking with big cubes. Another style of ice would be crystal clear cubes. If you're shaking with ice that comes out of a Klein Bell machine, it's perfectly clear, which means it's more structurally sound and won't break apart as fast, which means you're gonna shake a lot longer than even a cube coming out of a mold that has some cloudiness to it. So your ice really, really matters. In order to demonstrate this, I'm gonna do a little experiment. I've made essentially a bee's knees. The bee's knees is just 3/4 lemon, 3/4 honey, and 2 ounces of bourbon. I used Evan Williams at 86 proof. And so when we go to shake this, ideally, we would want our drink to come out somewhere between 113 mils and 138 mils on paper. That's 18.5% to 22.5% finished alcohol by volume percentage. So we found that shaking up drinks over time, that 18.5% is really what we want to nail. We want to get as close to that as we can without going over, because it's like falling off a cliff. The drink quickly becomes too diluted if we go past that point. So that's 138 milliliters in our drink. Currently, the drinks were measured at 102. They are perfectly the same. I used a graduated cylinder. So what we're gonna try and do, instead of shaking to what we would think of, 138 is our number if we weren't shaking for a certain amount of time. So recently on a YouTube video of another YouTube channel, I heard 15 seconds. We should shake for 15 seconds. So that's the arbitrary number I picked in order to demonstrate that things can come out very, very differently. So I'm gonna shake with the same amount of rigorousness, but I'm gonna use different ice cubes. I'm gonna use Half Moon cubes in one drink, and I'm gonna use my big cubes in another drink. Then we're gonna strain those off, and we're gonna measure the finished volume. Now, mind you, they started at 102 milliliters each. So we'll see how different they are after 15 seconds. Exactly how much ice was in each drink. They came out very, very close. The big cube is 129, 130, and the Half Moon cubes that I'm using to shake with are also at 130. I just got them out, so I'm gonna shake now. I'm gonna shake even the smaller cubes a little before the other cube. I'm gonna start the clock and shake for 15 seconds. Now it's off the ice. We're gonna shake with a big cube out of a pretty big mold, 2x2 mold, roughly the same weight of ice, 15 seconds. Been gone too long. Okay, now let's measure. One of the first things I noticed were a lot of ice shavings in this drink. If you have ice at home and you shake hard like I do, you may pulverize your ice pretty intensely. This looks like 139 for me. You know, maybe just 1 milliliter over our goal of 138. That's pretty close. We'll see how it tastes here in a second. Second drink. More like 119. So, we had a 20 mil difference at the 15-second mark between cocktail 1 and cocktail 2. And the only difference between the two cocktails was the ice we were shaking with. 20 mils is almost 3/4 of an ounce. 3/4 of an ounce is 23 mils. So we're looking at a much longer shake, ideally. With the big cube, I would have shaken longer with that, broken it down more. I probably would have gotten better froth on that drink. As you can see, the first drink, the froth is still there. That's all great. But I could only shake for about 15 seconds, and we were at our top range, maybe even a mil over. The drink with the big cube, you can shake much longer. You can get more froth because you're just shaking for so long. But it controls the dilution and you have more leeway. So once again, you don't want to say 15 seconds to people with different kinds of ice. And I would say Half Moon ice is pretty good bad ice. You can get great drinks. But if you're telling people to shake 15 seconds, that might be good for Half Moon. Well, what if they're shaking with mold ice, like a big cube like this? That's 20 mils difference. So time's not gonna work when you're working with different ice. Don't take that to mean that I'm agreeing you should shake with Half Moon ice. Shake with big cubes. So the third reason that you're gonna wanna avoid saying shake for some amount of time or shake for a number of shakes is that your bartenders all shake differently. And you really don't wanna take that away from them. Bartenders have to figure out how they shake, how they wanna go about breaking down the cube inside, what it sounds like. There are people who shake with less power, that are more rapid with their shake. There's people who shake like me as hard as I can because I'm used to shaking big cubes and I really need to break that down. So take that into consideration. How long has your bartender been shaking? Do they really have that whip? Are they really destroying the ice? Or do they do a little shake and rattle thing, right? Some bartenders shake with a cobbler shaker, Japanese style, right? All those different shake styles are gonna change how fast the dilution inside the tin is going. So you can't say a time and allow for all that variation with your bartender. So I would stay away once again from giving a time to every single one of your bartenders, or even a number of shakes to all of your bartenders. The fourth reason you're gonna wanna avoid, like the plague, saying how many shakes or a timed shake is your style of drink. Not every drink needs the same amount of water. Here's an example. If you say shake all drinks at 15 seconds, and you're talking about, say, a Collins, well, Collins has soda added to it. So it already has some water. It has ice as well. So you're getting melt and that melting effect while the drink is done and sitting out. So you don't want to shake too much water into the drink to begin with. So I tell my bartenders to shake about a 1/2 ounce to 3/4 of an ounce of water into their Collinses. If you're doing that, the rock is helping keep the drink cold and giving you dilution. So you want to undershake the cocktail relative to a shaken up drink like this one. And so again, you want to add about a 1/2 ounce to 3/4 of an ounce of water. But when you get to the up drinks like this here, you want to add more water because the drink is never getting any more diluted or any colder than it is when you serve it that very moment. This is also why, if you guys want to watch my video on building rounds, we put out drinks that are up and off ice on the tray last when we're building a round of multiple drinks. That's because it has less durability. It's only good for so long. In fact, this drink is probably getting a little warm after just a few minutes. So it's really meant to be drunk fast while it's still laughing at you, as Harry Craddock said. And what he meant was it's still bubbling and frothy at the top. So, down the hatch. Just kidding, I want to save it a little longer. Keep in mind the style of drink, how it's going to be served, is really critical in how much water you're going to add. This drink is going to require 1 ounce to 1.25 ounces of water. So you need to shake it a little bit longer, and your time or number of shakes isn't going to work for that. So please take that into consideration when talking about number of shakes or your time shaking. So then the question is, I know what you're saying. You're going, Ben, well, if I can't shake for a number of shakes, or I can't shake for a time, counting off in my head, well, then what do? How do I know when the drink is done? Well, the trick is, first of all, practice. You gotta practice at it. But also, if you start to shake with bigger cubes, you'll hear them start to break down slower over time. And really, the amount of water in there, if you're using consistent cubes, shaking the same way every time, the amount of water in your drink is gonna kind of remain steadily going into the drink. And you can time it out with a little practice and tasting with straws when you're done, seeing where you're at. Did you over dilute it? Okay, back off on how long you shook the next time with that cube. Or if you're not getting enough water, tastes a little strong. Ooh, that's a little boozy. Or, oh, the honey's really forward on that drink. Well, when that happens, you haven't maybe shaken enough water into it. And eventually, and it doesn't take as long as you may think, you'll start to get to the point where you know roughly when to stop, depending on the drink you're making. Mind you, if you're making a Collins, shake a little less and make sure when you serve it, it's a touch warmer than your up drink should be. Again, with a shaken down drink, like a Gold Rush, it should be a touch warmer because that ice cube is gonna help you keep it cold and gonna add a little water for you so you don't need as much water off the bat. So shake a little bit less. The other thing you can do is listen to the ice. As the ice breaks down, it starts to get sloshier. And you can measure how much water you're adding kind of based on how much the slosh you hear. So if you hear thunka 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 and it's all of a sudden it's sloshy, it's time to quit. But if it takes you, all you do is hear thunk the whole time, maybe you don't have a strong shake, you're just gonna have to shake a little bit longer. It's still adding water, but if you break down the cube, you'll start to hear it get slushy, and you can time it according to how much slush you're hearing and how your straw tasting when it comes out. All that takes a little practice, but it's not as hard as you think. You become a little bit of an ice whisperer listening to the tin and what it's telling you. You also get better at shaking, so you start to break down ice quicker and the slosh happens faster. And here's a last little hint. Anytime you've crushed the ice in the tin completely and you've smashed it, you're adding water really quickly. It's almost always a good idea to just snap the tin off and strain right away once you've smashed a cube, particularly big cubes. Jig is up, if you will, pretty much right then. All right, guys, that's my video on why you shouldn't shake a number of shakes or a timed shake because it's gonna lead you astray. The 4 reasons are ABV, ice, strength of the bartender shake, and style of drink. I hope this helps you guys make better drinks. I hope this worked to better drinks, guys. Nux, beer mug, daiquiri.
Oh, my baby grind. Oh, baby, come back home.